It is 23 hours 30 Universal Time. I'm Steve Ember in Washington. President Bush says an international force must be immediately sent to Lebanon to supervise a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. Mr. Bush said world leaders must decide who will lead the force as soon as possible. He also said the United States is increasing its aid to Lebanon to more than $230 million. Also Monday, Italian Prime Minister Romano Prodi said his country is willing to command the expanded United Nations force in Lebanon. Mr. Prodi spoke after Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert asked Italy to lead the force. Also Monday, Israeli troops clashed with Hezbollah fighters in southern Lebanon. 3 Hezbollah fighters were reported killed. Earlier, the Emir of Qatar became the first head of state to visit Lebanon since the fighting there started. President Bush says that it would be a huge mistake for American troops to leave Iraq now. He said such a move would make Iran and other extremists stronger. Mr. Bush also said a failure in Iraq would threaten the security of the United States. He spoke to reporters in Washington. In Iraq, the United States military says 4 American troops have been killed in the past 24 hours. Iran plans to officially answer the West's offer in return for stopping its uranium enrichment on Tuesday. Earlier, the leader of Iran said his country will continue to research nuclear technology. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said the United States wants Iran to stop nuclear research, though it knows Iran is not making nuclear weapons. The United Nations Security Council has given Iran until the end of this month to stop uranium enrichment activity or face possible restrictions. President Bush says he hopes the Security Council will quickly take action if Iran fails to satisfy the UN demand. International nuclear inspectors say Iran refused to permit them to enter part of a nuclear fuel center during an inspection last week. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, heavy gunfire has been reported near the home of presidential candidate Jean-Pierre Bemba. Forces loyal to Congolese President Joseph Kabila battled supporters of Mr. Bemba near his home in Kinshasa. No injuries have been reported. United Nations officials say peacekeeping troops have rescued foreign diplomats who were trapped inside the house. The battle followed gunfights Sunday between supporters of Mr. Bemba and Mr. Kabila. At least 5 people were killed. The violence began after Congolese officials announced that neither man had won a majority of the votes in the country's presidential election. President Kabila will face Mr. Bemba in a second election on October 29th. British officials have charged 8 suspects with plotting to bomb passenger airplanes on their way to the United States from Britain. They say 3 other suspects were charged with other crimes. Top police official Peter Clark said the investigation was huge. He said police seized about 8,000 pieces of evidence, including bomb-making materials and computers. All of the suspects were arrested on or since August 10th, when officials announced the attempted terrorist attack on several airplanes. 11 more suspects remain in British jails under investigation. 1 has been freed without charges. 7 others are being held in Pakistan. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. Officials in Egypt have begun to investigate a train crash north of Cairo that killed 58 people and injured more than 140. Most of the victims were farmers and government workers traveling to their jobs in Cairo from the city of Mansoura. Their train crashed into the back of another train near the town of Qalyub. Police say the driver of the Mansoura train failed to observe a stop signal. One of the trains caught fire. Several cars turned over. Officials in Saudi Arabia say 4 suspected militants surrendered after a battle with security forces in the city of Jeddah. Earlier, Saudi forces had reported 2 militants were killed, but an Interior Ministry spokesman later said no one was hurt. Italian rescue workers continue to search for Africans lost while crossing the Mediterranean Sea in an attempt to reach Italy. Italian Transport Minister Alessandro Bianchi said his agency needs about $13 million for almost daily Coast Guard rescue efforts. He called for strong action from the European Union. Earlier, at least 40 people landed on Lampedusa and other Italian islands between Africa and Europe. Many have drowned in recent days. Health officials from 11 Asian member countries of the World Health Organization have finished a 2-day meeting in Bangladesh. They agreed to increase their efforts against diseases including AIDS, malaria, and bird flu. Bangladeshi Health Minister Kandakar Mosharraf Hossain told reporters the members also agreed to improve plans for natural emergencies like tsunamis and earthquakes. The WHO Director for Southeast Asia said the officials also improved plans to fight malaria in Asia. A larger area conference of the World Health Organization is to begin in Dhaka on August 22nd. And German lawyers say Lebanon's military intelligence agency gave German officials information that led to the arrest of a suspect accused of putting bombs on trains last month. Lawyers in Karlsruhe said German officials were told Friday where to find the suspect, Youssef Mohammed E.H. He was captured Saturday at a train station in the northern city of Kiel. He faces attempted murder and other charges. And now, briefly, here again is the major news of the hour. President Bush says an international force must be immediately sent to Lebanon to supervise a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. Mr. Bush also says it would be a huge mistake for American troops to leave Iraq now. He said such a move would make Iran and other extremists stronger. And Iran plans to officially answer the West's offer in return for stopping its uranium enrichment on Tuesday. That's the news in VOA Special English. Steve Ember reporting.